and the year before, and that is that the committee's only going to, we had a standing date that we met. We changed that to basically just at the call of the chair, and we changed our quorum to 6. As y'all remember, in previous sessions, we've had instances where we needed to get bills heard, and many of you serve on some pretty influential committees, and so we changed that to 6, of course, with your approval. But with that is, once you get a chance, I'll give you a minute or two to read that. And I think while this is an organizational meeting, and I'd like, if I can, to get everybody to introduce yourself, and then I'm going to do something a little different. There's some people out in the audience that I'd like to recognize as well, because they're people you're going to see a lot with some of the changes that are coming legislatively and others. But I think Congressman Chapman's down here on the end. I think I want to start with him and just let him introduce himself to the rest of the committee, and tell us exactly where you are. I know, but for the rest of the committee, I think you're number 12. What's your number, Jeff?
Lucky number 7.
7.
No, it's 29, actually.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you. Well, I did read the report here, the rules, Mr. Chairman, and I made a mistake of reading my phone here at the same time. Thank you. I'm Jeff Chapman. For those of you I haven't met, from Brunswick. I represent part of St. Simons, all of McIntosh, half of Glenn County, and all of Lone County. Had sort of a dark past, served 3 terms in the state Senate, but I've repented from my ways, and I must say that it really is a pleasure to serve in the House of Representatives. Most importantly, you can kind of back up in the crowd and get lost in it. That's nice. But the sense of urgency about taking care of the people's business is just excellent here. So it's been a real privilege. This is the capital's 5 hours from Brunswick. So it is a task to get up here, but just look forward to serving with you. And I'm really excited about being on this committee. It has a lot to do with our part of the world, tourism especially. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And former senator and our representative, and I had a ton of people for the rest of the committee that were here from Glenn County today, and their economic development people, so it was good to see them. Next, Mike.
28. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Micah Gravely. I am from Douglasville and represent Douglas County and Paulding County. Seat was formerly held by a good friend of mine, Representative Bill Hembry. And so I've got some big shoes to fill, but I too, like Mr. Chapman, very honored to serve in the House. And prior service, I served in Governor Sonny Perdue's administration, and very happy to be on economic development tourism because I work closely with the film industry, film and music. So I'm excited about seeing what we can get done for Georgia and bringing more films to everybody's counties and districts across the state, especially my own.
Good deal.
Good for you.
Susan.
Thank you very much. I'm Susan Holmes. I live in Monticello, Georgia. I represent all of Jasper County, most of Jones County, the top portion of Monroe County, and most of Butts County, including the city of Jackson. I'm passionate about economic development. I was mayor of my city for 12 years, served on the board of the Georgia Academy of Economic Development several years. Love economic development, learned that preservation is economic development. I asked to be a member of this committee because I love it so much and I just want to be involved in it, and I thank you so much for including me. I'm very, very honored and pleased to be here. Thank you, sir.
We're glad to have you, Susan. Paul?
Ditto. I mean, how could you say any more? I am Paul Battles. I represent the 15th District, which is the southern third of Bartow County. And I, too, am very interested and have been involved on the local level with economic development in Cartersville and Bartow County. And I'm happy to see the effect that this committee is having on our future. Back to the movie industry, I just wanted to say if we could do something besides zombie movies, I would appreciate it. We had a portion of that filmed in Cartersville, and I hope we can be identified something other than a bunch of zombies up there. But looking forward to serve.
Thank you, Representative Battles. And Paul was heavily involved in the tourism destination bill, and I think the governor is going to have us a revision coming our way, we hope. So, Representative Braddock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Paulette from Paulding. I'm Paulette Braddock, and I represent Paulding County, and I'm excited to be here. I've got a real passion for economic development as an entrepreneur, and just looking to, make it a good business environment for companies to want to do business here in Georgia. So, thanks.
Good deal. And we've got a sit-in member, and I'm going to let you just introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. I am Karen Bennett. I represent House District 94, which encompasses Stone Mountain as well as some parts of Gwinnett. I'm a small business owner, and I've always been involved with economic development, and I am excited about learning how we can bring economic development and tourism to my county and my district as well as serve the state of Georgia.
Thank you. Now, Chairman Pruitt, who used to be Vice Chairman of the committee and was on the board of the Congress Center and lots of other things. So welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm on this committee because I have such a great mentor in our chairman here, and that's good. And I don't say that to build him up. That is the honest truth. And I asked to serve on this committee 7 years ago when I first got elected, and I've been on this committee ever since, and it's been such a pleasure. But economic development is important to all of us. It's certainly the lifeblood of our state, and this committee working together with such a fine chairman is great opportunities ahead of us, and I look forward to this year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman. Miss Augusta.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I, too, requested to be on this committee. I love economic development and want more and more and more of it. I echo Susan Holmes's recommendation that we all participate in economic development and grow the state of Georgia. I am from the Augusta area. I represent Richmond County and part of Columbia County, District 123, and I'm very happy and pleased to be on your committee, Mr. Chairman.
Secretary, we are so happy to have you. And as the new Vice Chairman of the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking forward to filling in those shoes and filling in the shoes of Chairman Pruitt down here. I'm Matt Hatchett. I'm from Dublin, represent District 150, which is Lawrence County, Treatland County, and Johnson County. We're all here because it's all about jobs. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I was going to hit Janae, but she's moving on. Chairman Burns, down in my area.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John Burns from District 159, parts of Effingham, Bullock, and Scriven counties. It's a real pleasure and honor to be on this committee, Mr. Chairman, and this committee members appreciate your work in the past bringing jobs to Georgians, and certainly look forward to working with you and doing everything I can to be a part of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Chairman of Ethics, and my good friend for some part-time on coastal Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Joe Wilkinson, House District 52. I represent Sandy Springs and Buckhead, and I'm proud to say I'm a plank owner, which is a Navy term meaning you were in the first crew. So I guess you and me and Gerald perhaps are we were in when this committee was formed at the end of '02. We were assigned by Speaker Pullman, and it's just been a great joy. I very much appreciate it, and I appreciate the chairman's friendship and leadership.
I must tell you, the two gentlemen I'm about to introduce, I call him the chairman of the ports because he represents the ports. Representative Bryant, myself, and then Chairman Wilkinson went to Germany on a little economic development trip. So just to kind of whet your appetite a little bit of some of the things that the committee might do, Representative Bryant.
Which we paid for ourselves.
Which we paid for, by the way, yeah. Let's make sure we get that out there.
Out of our pockets.
Thank you, Chairman of Ethics.
Yes, I want to make sure.
I'm Representative Bob Bryant from Garden City, and I represent parts of Chatham County and part of the city of Savannah as well. And it was definitely a pleasure traveling with you guys to Germany at our expense. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
We brought some business back.
Yes. I've been on this committee for 8 years, going on 9, and the chairman and I, we go a lot further back than here. We served on Garden City Council together before either one of us came up here, and I appreciate him selecting me at that time when I got here to be on this committee, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Who would have thought that we would have had olive oil in Georgia? We got the king of olive oil, Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Jason Shaw. I'm from Lakeland, Lanier County. I represent all of Lanier and all of Atkinson and parts of Lowndes and Ware County. So a lot of good people and a lot of pine trees in my district. And I'm glad to be serving on your committee. I did request this committee because I was accustomed to working under good leaders such as Chairman Burns already. So really, I've got a passion for economic development. I've done a lot of chamber work. I was on the charter board of our local chamber. I've served on the Joint Development Authority for a long time, and I think that's just something that we all have a passion for. But I definitely do. I want to do everything I can to help. So I look forward to working with all of y'all. Thank you.
Good deal. New member to our committee, and we're glad to have you, Representative Brockway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it, and I did request to be on this committee. I'm Buzz Brockway of the 102nd District, and I always laugh to hear all these other representatives who name off all the counties they live in. I have a tiny sliver of Gwinnett County in between Lawrenceville and Swanee. So as all you Bulldog fans that headed to Athens, stop off and see us and spend some money in our district, and I'll come and do the same in yours district. So thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
It's great. Representative Terry Rogers.
Yes, sir. Terry Rogers, District 10, which is Habersham and White County. And I also requested to be on this committee and was pleased to get placed on it last year. Have a real passion for economic development and tourism, especially being in North Georgia. I chair the Joint Development Authority, and so I know what's involved. As far as the movie industry, we've been very fortunate in North Georgia to have a bunch of movies, and actually Wanderlust was filmed up there about a year ago with Jennifer Aniston, and part of it was on my property, and anything we can do to get her back, I'd be real happy to see.
As we would all. Representative Gordon, my Savannah.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Craig Gordon. This is my 7th year at the General Assembly, 7th year on this committee, and if the citizens of Savannah see it, along with the chairman, I'd love to say 7 more years to come. But it's been a great opportunity, and representing downtown Savannah as well as midtown, obviously economic development, tourism, and job growth is something that weighs very heavily in our area. So it's just been an honor to learn from my colleagues from around the state on things that they've done and the exciting things that we've had an opportunity to do in this committee, and look forward to pushing through more job-friendly, economic growth-driven legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Gordon.
Hello, Representative Tom Taylor, represent the 79th District, which is actually smaller than Buzz's. It's 1/16 of DeKalb County and about 12 square miles. This is my second term. Prior to this, I was a city councilman on the original city council in Dunwoody and led that incorporation effort down here. In the film industry, again, in 2012, we had 6 feature films filmed in Dunwoody. Trouble with the Curve with Clint Eastwood, a Morgan Freeman movie, and Parental Guidance with Marissa Tomei and Billy Crystal. Dunwody's also a business hub with both retail and corporate. Last quarter, just our one mall, perimeter mall in Dunwoody, remitted $130 million in sales taxes alone to the state. Economic development to me is education, investment, business-friendly climate. Had the advantage in 2011 in November to be on a trade delegation to Taiwan as well, and I love being here.
Thank you. To Caucus Chair Sheldon.
Mr. Chairman, I'm definitely glad to be back. I think a couple of years ago I started on the committee, but then I was put on ethics and I got bumped off of this one, so I'm glad to be back. And I'm still on ethics, so I traded up. But I know most of us are definitely aware with these hard economic times that economic growth and jobs are definitely what's on the mind of the citizens of Georgia. So I look forward to serving with you again on this committee and ensuring that we are creating the environment that definitely promotes jobs and economic growth.
Thank you. And after a whole bunch of years, Representative Abel Mabel.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be on this committee. I've served on various committees, and I felt that this time around that I need to do economic development and to look at some job development and growth issues in my community. Obviously, I do represent the area with the Atlanta Stadium and some of the areas around the multimodal that's being talked about being built in the area. And so I'm glad to be on this particular committee and looking forward to serve with so many distinguished legislators.
Thank you, Representative Mabel. You know what? Representative Green over here has to pack a lunch when he goes by his district because it's, I forget how many miles from one end to another, but it'll take all day long to go from one end to the other. But it's good to have you on the committee again.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here because it does take me a long time to get from one end to the other. It's only 9 counties, but they're wonderful counties to be a part of. And you know, in some of those counties, we're doing films as well. We have a film stage down in one of the areas there. We also have some of the best rum you can taste now, grown with Georgia cane. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us to go and do a little tasting. And we have Stillwater Pond down there with the best wines that you can really grow in South Georgia. So we're all about economic development down in those particular areas. And Mr. Chairman, I just thank you for always helping us. And I want to say a personal thank you to the Department of Economic Development with Chris Kaminsky and his wonderful staff. Every time I have a group from China or somewhere else, they're always there to help. And that's part of our economic development as well. And your secretary, Gail, you cannot run a good organization without a good woman, and she is certainly that individual who looks after us. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that.
Yes. That's good. Wholeheartedly agree. One of the best motivational speakers we've got in House of Representatives is Randy Nix.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like Craig, I've been here 7 years, been on this committee for 7 years, and it has been one of the committees I really enjoy participating in. I represent the southern part of Carroll County, all of Heard County, and the northern part of Troup County. So my home county of Troup has seen the benefits of having a good economic development policy with the Kia development and all of the things that came with that. We've been blessed with a lot of activity around West Point Lake in terms of tourism. So this is a committee I asked to be on, and I hope as long as I'm here, you will allow me to stay on it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Nix. You know, I want to take a minute just to kind of gloss over where we've been. Gosh, it's 2004, I think, was some of the name badges that I was looking back on. A lot of the things that wind up in the Ways and Means Committee as policy basically start here with your ideas and drive it down the road to policy for the state, and that's a big deal. And you know, you mentioned film, and I'll get our representative from the department that I see over here probably texting back and forth to the commissioner right now. And by the way, he's lost a lot of weight as a result of getting chewed on last year because I think his package was rather heavy as we tried to level the playing field with economic development policy throughout the state. But you know, the film industry that everybody here has talked about, and we've seen what it's done. But it started out about 7 years ago with $100 million in economic impact to the state, and now it's $3.5 billion maybe. We're now number 3 in the world. Hollywood's number 1, New York's number 2, and little old Georgia has exploded onto the scene in film. And that's just the foot in the door. But I wanted to give you the opportunity, if you would, Mr. Stansel, come up and introduce yourself so the new members of the committee will see you a lot.
I'm Elmer Stansel with the Georgia Department of Economic Development. I've had the opportunity to work with many of you before and look forward to the opportunity to work with the new members of this committee in the future. But we have enjoyed some great leadership from the chairman, and Representative Williams made sure that to remind me that I am from Watkinsville, Georgia, where Chuck represents. But we've had tremendous success because of the tools that you guys are able to provide us, and that with economic development, it's about having the right tools in order to attract the right business and having the existing businesses and helping them grow. About 70% of the projects that we work are from existing industry. So that's the bread and butter of what we do. But we appreciate all the work that the committee does. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Chuck, you want to say anything about the coup that you guys pulled off in Clark County, or something, the number of jobs that are there? And
I'll just say that we love Caterpillar yelling.
You're a very good man. Stephanie, would you like to say something about this massive investment we have over across the street?
My name's Stephanie Kendrick. Y'all probably know me as Stephanie Carter. I got married in the interim. I am with the Georgia World Congress Center Authority. I am also a native of Watkinsville, Georgia, so we're well represented. Just so you know, we have the 4th largest convention center. We are actually in Representative Abel Mabel Thomas's district. She owns Building B and C in the Dome, and Pat Gardner has Building A in Cincinnati Olympic Park. We are the 2nd largest economic engine behind the ports. So we are a major facility that's owned by the state of Georgia. Usually we come to y'all for some operation capital, or not operating capital, capital outlay every single year. This year in the budget, and we want your continued support. We're doing the College Football Hall of Fame. So that's going to build a brand new front door for our Building A on the Marietta Street. So you'll see some funding for that this year. Usually it's just things like carpet, things like that that we need from all this. So we thank you for your continued support. Just last year at FY12, we generated $1.2 billion in economic impact for the state of Georgia. Since 2003, we've had a combined economic impact of over $22 billion for the state of Georgia. So our goal is economic development, and so we'll be hearing a lot more about from us in the coming days. I won't talk about the elephant in the room because we are honoring the governor's 15-day quiet period. That should end at the end of this week, and so be looking for some more details on that from us in the coming week.
Thank you, Stephanie. Lauren, tell us about the chamber.
Hey, I'm Lauren Phillips-Fralin from the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. As you all know, we're a statewide membership organization with currently 15,000 members. We just changed kind of our structure, and now we're partnering with all of our local chambers. So now all of your local chambers memberships are all a member of the Georgia Chambers. That helps us to expand our membership. We employ over 2 million Georgians in the state. Economic development is our top priority, not just bringing new jobs in, which we love, but keeping our businesses who are currently here in Georgia. Chris Clark is our new president CEO. He's been on for about 2 years now. Y'all probably know him, but he used to work at the Department of Economic Development, as well as the Department of Natural Resources, as well as was a local chamber president. So he has a good grasp on all different aspects of industry in the state. Come to me if you ever have any questions on the chamber's positions. I'll help you provide information on any economic development legislation that comes up in the committee.
Thank you, Lauren. And I'll take the chair's prerogative. Jim Finch is here, who's, there's a lot of people out there with a world of knowledge, but I don't think I can think of anybody that's got more in-depth knowledge of community affairs. Would you like to say something, Jim? We'll lean on you a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jim Finch. Worked for the Department of Community Affairs for a number of years, retired from the state about 3 years ago. And I currently serve as legislative monitor for the Georgia Economic Development Association. GEDA has over 700 members in the state. Those members are all involved in economic development in some way, whether it be the local development authority director, chamber director, could be a builder, contractor, banker, but we don't lobby. So I'm not going to come and talk specifically about a bill with you. But I would like to say, if you have questions about something that's going on down here that relates to economic development, and you would like local economic developers' perspective, check with me, and I can probably find some people to talk to you about that particular issue, and maybe give you some guidance if you might be missing. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jim. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the committee? You have our full attention before we get busy. If not, ladies and gentlemen, you have in front of you some our rules for the committee, and if you've had an opportunity to take a look at those, I'll entertain a motion. We have a move and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of adopting the rules for committee, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The rules are adopted. Just for a clarification on some of the things that are coming up, we're working on two things: a tour of the Tyler Perry Studios and a dinner immediately following at the Screen Gems. And I might toss out there may be some other things coming down the road as well. Definitely is, we're 25, it's hard to believe, we're 25% through this entire session already. This thing is flying. So immediately during the off session, since there's not a whole lot of stuff going on campaign-wise, expect a whole lot of opportunities for us to see pieces of the state that you may not have seen before. And of course, I'll always want you to see the Georgia ports and the Gulf Streams and that kind of stuff at our part of the state. But there's an enormous amount of opportunity, and I want to go back through our car plant that Kia spits those things out less than a minute, one every minute. It's amazing. But awful lot of things for us to learn, and there's a lot that people want to show us as well. So if there's nothing else, we are adjourned.